We finally got another Borderlands 4 trailer in Wednesday's State of Play, seeing our first major look at gameplay, and there's a lot to go over, so let's just dive right in. The first thing I want to talk about is all of the potential action skills we saw in this trailer. Starting with Beefcake Hunky Pants, as I've dubbed him until we get a name, we once again see the dual wielding axe ability from the first gameplay trailer. We can also see what could potentially be another action skill, or maybe a melee augment, which is a rocket charged punch dash. I'm leaning more towards the side of it being an action skill, as he has this effect on screen while it's happening, and while it could be a fire status effect, the enemy being fought here doesn't seem to be doing fire damage. Plus, this attack takes a pretty long time just for a melee augment. This can potentially mean we will be getting 2 melee characters in Borderlands 4, since in the first trailer we saw the operative character swinging around these laser blades, so maybe there's 2 melee characters. Nothing confirmed yet, but that would be so cool. Moving on now to the aforementioned operative character, while we don't see him using those laser blades from the previous trailer, we do see him summon his digital interface and then pull out a second gun. If this is the return of a Gunzerk skill, that could be absolutely insane. Gunzerk was very powerful in Borderlands 2, and if that comes back for 4, it could be even more powerful. And I will say that it is possible that the second gun our operative spawns is a fixed weapon like Zane's Mantis Cannon rather than just any weapon we want. But the second gun he pulls out does look pretty similar to some of the other weapons we saw in this trailer. So I think we could actually be seeing the return of dual wielding in this game. Another note about this specific character is that we see him wielding TDR weapons quite a bit in this trailer. So maybe his character has some specific synergies with TDR. We saw a lot of the Sirens gameplay in this trailer, and even got a look at 2 action skills that we have never seen before. The first one we see is a pretty basic energy blast, almost like some sort of fireball that explodes upon contacting an enemy, which, by the way, I love that the gore has been turned up to 11 in this entry. In a later clip, we also see our Siren spawn a projection of herself in the air holding a scythe. Unfortunately, the clip cuts off before we get to see what the action skill actually does, but there is something very important about both of these skills that I want to note: their color. The chosen color for the Siren this time around has been purple, pretty much universally. This includes the action skills that we saw in this trailer, which makes me think that this could be the return of the dark magic element that we saw in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Maybe dark magic is being brought back exclusively through this character, and that would fit very well with the theme of her action skill being the Grim Reaper projection. This Siren is looking more and more like a necromancy themed character with every trailer, and it is looking so awesome. Now, as for the Malawannabe, this girl here, her action skill was very strange and didn't actually reveal too much without having any UI on this gameplay. This action skill starts with our character pulling out some sort of cannon or something. Honestly, it's hard for me to tell exactly what she does here, but regardless, she then shoots out a big orb that passes through the bandit enemy, who then gets a rainbow status effect applied to him. Now, I'm thinking this could be one of 2 things. Either this orb applies every elemental status effect to the enemy it passes through, or this is some unique debuff specific to the orb, as this enemy seems to have a special death animation with this rainbow effect on them. Like I said, this action skill is very hard to gauge without any UI, but either way, it looks like it's going to be a load of fun. There wasn't a whole lot of breaking news in this trailer, but we did get to see the full use of the grappling hook, which has a very fluid and quick animation, and more importantly doesn't stop us from using our weapons, as well as seeing at multiple points the double jump mechanic, which again looks very fluid and smooth. We can also see that the overall level design of these maps is leaps and bounds ahead of Borderlands 3, which is something I talk about a lot. All of these maps are on one planet and maybe Elpis, and yet there is still such a large amount of diversity in these maps. We've got beaches, cityscapes, fields, snowy wastelands, and so many different kinds of ecosystems and biomes across these maps. Another thing that caught my eyes during this trailer was the seemingly large-scale boss fights. The Borderlands series as a whole hasn't had the best boss fights, often being very underwhelming or just unproportionally small. You have big boss fights like Graveward or Tyrene or the Warrior, but none of these fights really feel epic. Then you also have small boss fights like Troy, Kilovolt, Gigamind, and the Trance, who just overall don't feel epic or exciting at all. Don't get me wrong, the Trance were hilarious, but actually fighting them was pretty meh. In this new trailer, we can see this huge boss fight that looks like it could be an absolutely epic fight. And while we don't know the mechanics of this boss fight yet, I think the Borderlands franchise could do very well with more larger scale boss fights. And there has also been a slight shift in the art style for this game, taking a step back from the realism of Borderlands 3 and bringing back some of the thicker lines from Borderlands 2. It's a subtle change, but it really draws the middle ground between Borderlands 2 and 3, which I personally think is very nice. Quite possibly the most important piece of info we got from this trailer is the release date of Borderlands 4, which is September 23rd, 2025, which means we are officially less than 8 months away from playing this new game, which I am very hyped for at this point. Randy Pitchford has also confirmed that there will be an entire Borderlands themed state of play coming sometime in spring, with a full dive into gameplay, action skills, skill trees, and weapons, so keep an eye out for that. It's no secret that I've been very excited for this new game, but now, after watching this trailer, I am fully on board. Thank you all so much for watching, have a fantastic day.